Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome back to our weekend review on the Final Furlong podcast. As always on a Monday, I've got Daryl, Jacob and Lizzie Kelly alongside me to talk about the big stories from the last few days in National Hunt Racing. And we're going to begin with what was basically a schooling session for Etait Temps, who wins yet another race. It's his fourth on the spin. 3 of them have been grade 1s. And he's going to now head for the Tingle Creek, where he'll rematch with Jonbon, who he slammed the last time he took him on. I can't help but feel that was Jonbon over the top, and this will be a much more intriguing battle between the two, but probably a very underrated horse, Daryl, Jacob. But that was a really pleasing comeback for all that he was rated 20 pounds superior to the runner-up, and so should be beating him by 18 lengths.
Yeah, but you know what? It was great to see. Actually, first of all, Emmet, we've got to say congratulations to the Williams clan. Chester had a big winner at Exeter on Friday, and Jane had a good winner, a bumper winner at Ancient Saturday. So well done to Team Williams. And cracking form, their horses. So there you go, Lizzie, there's one for you.
I would just like to note the really enthusiastic reaction from Lizzie to Daryl bigging up her family. Like,
yeah.
Should we just talk about your new house, Lizzie? Your new house looks amazing.
That's much more exciting, a new house rather than her brother and her mother training racehorses to win races.
Let's do a quick episode of Behind the Keyhole on the Final Furlong podcast. Lizzie, your new home, it looks lovely.
Yeah, let's do MTV Cribs. That'd be great. I've got the least horsey looking house at the moment. Not finished.
Well, the key part of the
you
pun.
guys have got horse stuff.
We're going to actually do a horse racing show here and not do Escape to the Country, which, I mean, we can do a Final Furlong Escape to the Country if you want. The key to MTV Cribs is that actually wasn't those people's houses. For the vast majority, it was all lies. It was all just for show. It was like, oh, see my crib. And it turned out they were just rented those places. Lizzie Kelly not renting this place. This is her actual home. Yeah. It was all for show.
I used to love that TV show.
Oh, come on, Lizzie. Get with the times. Wow. Get with the times, girl.
Television. Fake. Who'd have thunk it? All right, let's get back to Etait Temps. He's not fake, but is he going to be able to win the Tingle Creek, in your opinion, Daryl?
Look, he's a wonderful horse. I mean, what he done at Sandown last year, the back end of last year, was breathtaking. I think he's getting a bit older now, and what he's doing is his jumping is very, very short now. Even if you looked at him going down to the last day at Clonmel, Paul was like slapping. Once upon a time, Etait Temps could have just had a go at that fence, but he got right under the fence and he jumped him really well. And I think that's his biggest asset in the last couple of years, is his jumping. It's becoming really, really solid. He's a very good traveller. He's got it all. He's not the biggest horse in the world, but he can get over them fences from A to B. And look, he's got plenty of talent. And actually, I was delighted to see him around Clonmel do it, because the runner-up went a real good gallop that day, and on very soft ground. We had intense raffles in that race. He couldn't really lie up, but they went in a good even gallop. I liked the way Paul settled them in. And whenever he took him out halfway down the back straight to go by Gentleman to Me, he went by him very, very comfortably. And even when he got upsized the runner-up, he really took hold of the bit and really charged on. And I think it was good to get the freshness out of him before he heads to Sandown. And look, it's going to be a mouth-watering clash, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. We always just associate this time of the season as, Willie's just getting them ready, Lizzie, and you're not really going to see the best of them until the Dublin Racing Festival and then onwards. And then, well, it's the Willie Mullins show at that point. He just dominates everything. But this is a really interesting horse. He's never been out of the first 3 in all 8 chase starts. He's won 6 of those chase starts, including his last 4. 3 of them in Grade 1 company, and one of them destroying Jonbon. So at this stage of the season, and we're going to see Jonbon at the weekend in the Schlur Chase, as we call it on the Final Furlong, which of the 2 would you favour? Because now they're going to be very close in the betting. Etait Temps or Jonbon?
I think
Is Lizzie sitting on the fence?
With Jonbon. No, I'm happy to make a decision and stick with Jonbon. But I feel like Etait Temps is one of those horses. He used to be ridden by Danny Mullins, and they were sort of both as mad as each other. And you always felt like Etait Temps was a horse who could kind of bowl over, and ruin his own race for himself. They had another one just like him called something Dynamo.
Dysart Dynamo.
Blue colours.
That's it, yeah.
Head case.
Yeah, and the way that they would be kind of not quite on your side, you had to manage them as a jockey. You know, and Danny Mullins does a really good job of that. But I feel like this horse has actually really improved. He's becoming more and more reliable. I thought it was interesting going up in trip to 2 mile 5 for the first time. He'd run in that grade 1 over 2 mile 3. He finished second or something like that. But I thought you could really see the difference in his jumping from when he was being held up just to kind of get around. And I think he is getting easier to ride for sure. But I think the one thing I would say about Etait Temps in his positive for him is we know he can get home now that we've seen him over 2 mile 5. But stand down is a lot of fences, stiff and off hill all the way from the bottom of that back straight. So I'm going to stick with Jonbon because I think it is his day.
Yeah, Lizzie brings up a really interesting point. That this is a horse who slammed Grey Dawning by 9 lengths at Aintree, and I know it's possible that Grey Dawning just wasn't himself that day, but he did do that, and I kind of wonder with him, he's seeing out that distance pretty easily. Could we see this horse go for the King George this season? Do you think, Daryl, that if he gets beaten by Nicky Henderson's Jonbon, do they then say, "Oh, there's not a whole lot of point in going down the 2 mile division"?
Well, the problem is the 2 mile division. If we're being totally honest with you, it's not the strongest of caliber of a race. Like for me, in my eyes, Jonbon's been crying out for 2.5 plus for the last 4 years.
Thank you.
But the problem is that the more you step up in trip, the real classier horses are about. And if you look at all the races that Jonbon has won, all them grade 1s that he's won, and don't get me wrong, take nothing away from Jonbon. He's a brilliant racehorse, and he's been brilliantly trained, and he's been brilliantly ridden by Nicky and by Nico. But if you look at the caliber of horses that he was beaten in grade 1s on leading up to Cheltenham, he's been basically beaten grade 2 horses, if we're being brutally honest about it. He gets to Cheltenham, he comes against the Creme de la Creme, and he gets beaten. The pace of the races are way faster. He's always sort of on the back foot. Now look at he had an excuse last year, wasn't it? Because it was a flag start and he shied from the flat flag, and then that put him out of contest. He's a very, very sharp horse. He knows exactly what's going all around him. And he's been brilliantly trained. But where they've seen the best of Jonbon is where they've been riding him really, really aggressive from start to finish, is in just go get him, go attack your fences, jumping counts. And he basically, because he is inferior, he's a better horse than the horses that he's been run against, he can out-gallop him and out-jump him at his sort of pace by being ridden very, very aggressively. Now, whenever you come to the, your Cheltenham festivals, it's a totally, totally different kettle of fish. The pace is always on. You have to be on it. So all of a sudden, he's dominating weaker grade 1s or weaker races, whereas at Cheltenham, he's coming against the higher grade, the proper grade 1 horses, and he's not able to dominate them. So, yeah, I've always felt a step up and trip. He's what he's crying out for. But when you're that dominant in them races, he's picking up grade 1s left, right, and centre. So they're the races that are easier to win. So why not go and pick them up? Hey, I wouldn't mind riding a horse like him.
Oh, absolutely. But I think you're 100% right about the change in style from Nico de Boinville taking over and going more aggressive. Because you've seen that when then Nico's not available for injury or suspension, that when somebody else takes over and reverts back to Aidan's style, which was much more quiet, that's in theory that's going to work, and it worked brilliantly for Jonbon under Aidan. But Nico, being that little bit more forceful on him, has made him become more of a man. And so when a jockey doesn't do that, it just seems like he can throw in a bit of a stinker.
You got to remember, Nico is class.
Yeah.
Nico is one of the finest jockeys that we have in this country. He's a brilliant horseman. His judgment of pace, his relationship with horses is second to none.
And he's got multiple grade 1 wins to prove that on the CV as well, and hopefully we'll be chatting to him.
I used to sit beside him at every Cheltenham festival when he's winning grade 1 after grade 1, and I wasn't so lucky. I was coming in probably mid-division behind it, and Nick was coming in celebrating, and I'm coming in here nearly crying into the Cheltenham weigh room.
The Woes of Daryl Jacob. Available for you now on audiobook.
Beside my peg in the Cheltenham, in the weigh room, Lizzie will tell you, we've got if we have a Cheltenham winner or festival winner, we write our names on the pegs. I've got my little space where I had my little few winners. Well, Nico's taken up half the weigh room. He's taken up half the wall with all his names and all the horses. It's quite embarrassing, Emmet. I'm not going to lie to you. It is quite embarrassing. My few little scribbles to Nico's wall
you don't want to sit next to these people.
So what you're saying is you don't want to be sitting next to
sitting next to Rachel Blackmore.
Just an endless line, like a scroll, an ancient tablet of just Rachel Blackmore over and over and over again. So you don't want to be sitting beside Jack Kennedy, Paul Townend, Nico de Boinville.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's an interesting observation. The betting for the Schlur Chase is
a tip for any young jockey coming in here that listens to this podcast.
Are you starting out in the world of racing? Do you have ambitions to be a top jockey? Here's the lesson. Don't sit beside Nico de Boinville or Paul Townend. It will destroy your confidence. All right, the betting is through at 1xBet for the Schlur Chase this weekend, which obviously we're going to preview for you on Thursday's show. Jonbon is odds on. It's a strange price from 1xBet. Don't criticize me. This is the odds compilers from there. They've come up with 91 to 250. So I guess you could put 250 to win 91. I haven't seen this before. 6-1 Lotus Odd, Edward Stones, and 8-1 shot. I mean, really, Jonbon should be battering them. And Moscow Flyer was still winning grade ones at 11 years of age and running respectably at the age of 12. So 2-mile chasers can very much hold their form. I can understand what Nicky's doing. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him in a King George, but it's not going to happen this season anyway. And obviously JP is desperate to win his first Queen Mother Champion chase. Talking about other horses that may be going for different targets, Adam Mills sent me a message right after we were on TalkSport 2 when Haiti Couleurs has a winning comeback and he's going 8-1 for the Hennessy. This is insane. We got to be taking this. And I was in agreement with him, only for Rebecca Curtis to come out and say, yeah, I'm leaning towards the Betfair Chase. It's a quick 2-week turnaround, but that is the race she's leaning towards. And I wonder, Lizzie, if the reason that they're going for this is Sean Bone's almost certainly not available for the Hennessy because he's going to have to ride Resplendent Grey. The same thing happened at the Cheltenham Festival. Sean had to ride Resplendent Grey. That meant Ben came in for the ride on Haiti Couleurs, and obviously that worked out well. But I think Rebecca really wants to keep that partnership with Sean. And also, it's a pretty winnable Betfair Chase. But can Haiti Couleurs step up to that level?
I would probably suspect that she may well be wanting to run him in a grade one early doors to see whether he's up to the task, perhaps. Could be, or maybe she thinks it's a very winnable grade one for him, given that he's a real stayer, isn't he? So I think it could be more than just the Ben Jones, Sean Bowen factor. I mean, crikey, Ben Jones won at the festival on him, and if I were him, I'd have been a bit disappointed to then lose the ride for the Irish Grand National afterwards. But yeah, I think it could be. I think there could be more factors. It may well be a factor for her, but difficult to plan your whole season around one end target being a Gold Cup, and you jump the first and realise you're nowhere near good enough. That would be disappointing, wouldn't it? So perhaps it's better to find out early on and see whether you might be up to the task. And
the advantage for them is, Daryl, he's race fit. I mean, that was a pretty extraordinary performance in a handicap hurdle off top weight. It's a pretemps, so I don't know how many of the connections really wanted to be firing their shot that day. And we'll talk about another pretemps winner who was very impressive on Saturday and a good winner for the Final Furlong podcast as well. But he's race fit. He was Rebecca's first winner for 199 days. It didn't seem like there was much confidence in him in the market beforehand, and yet he's still gone on to win. And if he does line up in the Betfair Chase, 9-2 is the price you'll get with 1xBet in Ireland. This episode brought to you by 1xBet, with over 7,000 betting markets for you to get involved in every single day on the 1xBet website in Ireland. Find out more now at 1xBet.ie. Loads of sign-up bonuses for you as well. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. 1xBet.ie to find out more. 152 is the official mark for Haiti Couleurs as we record. Protectorate's 165. He'd need to start now, in my opinion. Grey Dawning is the one who'll set the standard, and he's the favourite, 166. Do you rely on Grey Dawning?
Yes, I think Grey Dawning is very, very likeable. I'm looking at the Betfair Chase, right? Spillans Tower doesn't run.
Yeah, he's out.
Grey Dawning is an 8-year-old. Royal Pregal, 13-year-old, is won at his last twice. Spillane's Tower's a non-runner. Haiti Couleurs, you got Handstand, who he's beaten. Stella Story's not good enough. Protectorate, Intense Raffles. You know, that Betfair
How
Chase.
dare you, Daryl? 2 things to pull you up on. Number 1, Royal Pagaille is 11 years of age, not 13, although it feels like he's been around for 13 years. And number 2, how dare you not mention the brave and gallant Hitman, who has a comeback performance?
Stop. Sorry. I was being exaggerated when I said 13 but I obviously
I just said 17 to be honest. He's been around for ages.
Yeah, he's been around for
135.
But if you look at, I promise you, so I was at Newbury the day that Haiti Couleurs won the Pertams, and I was in the parade ring and I got to see him. And generally in that whole race, I was expecting him to be the tubbiest out of the whole lot, because I thought their dream is the Gold Cup. He's having a little blowout here. He's having a pipe opener here, and they will work back from the Gold Cup. That's what I thought before I seen the horse. And I walked around. I seen him in the parade ring, and I've seen him walking around. And I promise you now, in the whole Pertams field, that race, he was the fittest horse out of the lot of them. I couldn't believe my eyes what I was seeing. He looked fit. He looked fresh. He was prancing around the parade ring. He had a brilliant coat on him. Yes, of course, he'll come on a little bit for the run, but I promise you, it absolutely shocked me how fit I thought he was, because I thought he was, they would work back. I thought there's no way they're going to have him this fit at this early this season. So the fact that he was as fit as that, right? He comes out of his races very, very well by what we're hearing. He's a horse that's active at home. So he always travelled really, really well. He was so comfortable with Sean in that Pertams the whole way around. Yes, James Bowen's horse, one great six horse. What's his name? Bill Baxter. Bill Baxter. He made a mess of the last, but Sean was never really panicking on him, and he only pushed him up hands and heels. So that horse is a real good blowout in that race. And to be honest with you, if I was actually Rebecca Curtis with the lineup of that race, I would have a crack at the Betfair Chase.
I would too. I think it makes sense.
It's a great one. It's a great to have your name on the list of the honours for that race. It's an incredible race, and there's so much history. It's steeped in history. I mean, look, why not? I mean, it's it could be like the Hennessy or the Coral Gold Cup. It's going to be a competitive race for sure. It always is. And he's going to have a fair lump of weight in that. Whereas you run against Grey Dawning, Royal Pagaille, Handstand, he's beaten already. For me, if he was right and he was fresh and he was well, there's only one race I'd be targeting with him, and that's a Grade 1. I'd rather win a Grade 1 than win a Coral Gold Cup, personally.
Yeah. But I also think Lizzie's point about him is right. If you think you have a Gold Cup horse, there's not much point in jumping the first to Cheltenham and then realizing, oh crap, he can't go championship pace and this is over before it even begins. Whereas if you go to Haydock and you win the Grade 1, well, you might not win a Gold Cup, but at least you've won a Grade 1 staying chase and you haven't wasted your season going for one race. I really admire this from Rebecca. I think it makes a lot of sense. And also, a Plutard bolted up in this race in 2021. Now, he got beaten in his next start, but it doesn't matter. He won the Gold Cup that same season. So it makes sense to me that you run him in this race, especially when there's no depth to this race. There's just no depth to it at all. So, of course, he's the new kid on the block. He's the exciting new horse. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement he should go for it. Does everybody think he can win it? You obviously do, Daryl. I do. Do you?
I do. Generally, I do. I mean, look, Grey Dawning's going to be a difficult horse.
Yeah, and he went close last year.
And he probably would have. The ground was probably on the slower side for him last year. Look, we don't really know what the long range forecast is with the rain.
I can't tell you what the weather's going to be tomorrow, Daryl. Let alone what it'll be.
I know,
2
but
weeks.
I mean, look at it. But then again, like to me, he looks like a horse that can go on pretty much any ground. So if it wouldn't look, it's realistically with how dry it's been, it's not going to be bottomless up at Haydock. Probably the worst we're going to get is soft. We could even get good to soft in places up there. He'll go on that ground. So will Grey Dawning. Royal Pagaille won't, because his stamina won't be he won't have the speed to go on it. So therefore, you're nearly a handstand will go on the ground. But you're limiting the number of horses that I think have got a chance in that race. And realistically, I think there's only actually 3 horses that can win that race, and there's probably only going to be about 7 or 8 runners in the race.
So I would say the only ones who can win it realistically are the horse who's won it for the last 2 years, because this is Venetia's time of year, and he's got a great record in the race, so it would be very folly to rule out Royal Pagaille. Grey Dawning, who was second in it last
that
year.
needs to be heavy for him, mind.
Does
so
it?
Are we going to get heavy ground?
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe somebody leaves the tap on. Who knows? Grey Dawning, Royal Pagaille, or Haiti Couleurs. And you're getting 4-1 about Haiti Couleurs, 1xBet in Ireland. So I'd take him. He's the progressive, improving horse that continues to win.
And he's had a run. He's had that run.
And he's race fit.
Grey Dawning's had a gallop, hasn't he? He's had a racecourse gallop, hasn't he?
Yeah. Just imagine poor Dan's face if Willie Mullins wins the Tingle Creek and Rebecca Curtis comes and steals his prize in this race as well. It's like that Trainers Championship bid gets...
Poor man stressed out. It was at the start of the season.
Oh, he's trying to... You know that man is trying to accumulate as much prize money as possible to try and put Willie in his place so that he has to win the Grand National again, which, by the way, he probably will. And the Scottish Grand National again.
I'll ask Lizzie a question. Lizzie, which out of the three would you ride? Royal Pagaille won it the last 2 years. Grey Dawning or Haiti Couleurs?
Well, I'm slightly biased.
Who would you
because
ride?
Grey Dawning is one of my favourite horses in training. He's a lovely, lovely horse. He is exactly like the sort of paintings that you used to have of the old-fashioned English steeplechasers. He's quite bony. He's tall, gangly. He's absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, his performance in the Betfair last year pretty much finished his whole season, didn't it? And I would have been, I think, I don't know whether I would have even run him again in this, actually, given how the rest of the season panned out after that. I mean, his performance in the King George was like just so disappointing, just like there was no engine there. And it kind of carried on like that. But look, they're going to go back and have another bash at it. He'll obviously appreciate it if it's slightly better ground, which it probably will be. We just simply haven't had the amount of rain, unless it like poured with rain for the foreseeable. I think we're probably going to have better ground. But there's something lovely about Haiti Couleurs, but I don't know whether it's him physically or whether I've got the wrong end of the stick with him. But he kind of looks like he kind of looks like a type of horse that would just run through walls for you. But I think that is his ace up his sleeve, is simply how hard he tries and how much he puts into his races. But does he actually have the class angle? But of course we don't know, because we've not seen him in a race where he'd need to show that really yet. He's doing off his own ability at the moment in handicap. So this is the opportunity to find out more about him. But I'd stick with Grey Dawning. We know he's got the class, but hopefully, Haiti Couleurs will show that he's, the new kid on the block in that sort of class, in that Grade 1 division.
Instinctively, do you think he does have the class to make it as a 160 plus chaser?
Yeah, I think he can. I think the performance in Ireland was very good, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And he put away some nice horses. And yeah, I mean, even the other day he was giving away, I think it was £18 to Bill Baxter.
Just the extraordinary thing about that performance is you knew, even though Bill Baxter, up until he makes the mistake at the last, I still knew he was going to win because it's Jonbon. And he just doesn't stop. I don't know how he manages to do. I haven't since the halcyon days of Lizzie Kelly and Daryl Jacob in the saddle. I was never this confident about. All right, Tony McCoy. I was never this confident about a jockey just getting there in the way that you would be with McCoy. You knew he was going to do it. Bowen just seems to have that, and I don't really understand what it is that separates him from everybody else. The final question to ask about this then is, if we think he's going to go for the Betford Chase, and that's certainly what Rebecca was leaning towards, then the Hennessy becomes much more interesting, because Resplendent Grey was really good in his comeback, but he's going to be now off a mark of 153 compared to 142, the old Whitbread. Now, the improvement may very well still be there, and that was a really good performance to beat Handstands in his comeback. But what about Blizzard of Oz? Because this time last year, you told me Blizzard of Oz was the horse you were most excited about, with the exception of potentially Imperi Pass, who obviously you then win a Grade 1 on. I'm not sure you expected him to win first time out, but he did.
He was good at Wexford now. Look, we'd left plenty of improvement with him. And I look at me personally, I didn't think Wexford, the track, I didn't think that'd suit him. And the makeup of the race, I didn't yet... it was his first run of the season. He was taking on a very, very good yardstick that was finished fourth in the Stayers Hurdle last year, had a win already under his belt. He was a smaller, lighter type of horse. And I thought he would have taken all the beating. And for Blizzard of Oz to come out, at the start of the season, he can be a little bit rusty with his jumping, but I thought Paul got him into a brilliant rhythm. He looked very comfortable the whole way around. He travelled really good. I think this horse is definitely improving from last year. He's a second season novice, obviously, because he hadn't won last year. And look, I think the Hennessy is the obvious race to go for him with him. He obviously has got an entry in the Grade 1 at Fairyhouse as well. But look, I think realistically, I think it's a great race for him, and there's an awful lot of prize money on show there. And second season novices have got a very, very good record in that race. So I think he's still on a very, very attractable handicap mark. I'm hoping that he will develop into a Grade 1 horse by the end of the season. And Simon, Isaac, and Anthony were very, very confident about him hopefully making it to the very top this year in the novice division.
2017 was the last time Willie Mullins won the Hennessy. I think that's his only actual winner because of the contaminated feed, which was really frustrating. Total Recall.
Total Recall, yes, I remember him.
I love that horse.
Yeah,
I love that horse. He did me a big favour that day. I think you might win that. I think there could be a Haiti Couleurs / Blizzard of Oz double to be done there. 4-1 and 10-1 is the current bet with 1xBet in Ireland. Let's switch to the other Pertemps, shall we? That did us a big favour with Nicky Henderson getting Impost 3 into the winners enclosure. Andy Newton and myself put him up at 8-1 on the Final Furlong Podcast on Thursday's preview. He was backed into 2-1 with 1xBet in the morning. He goes off a 5-2 shot. He's cruised through the race. He's won it very easily, Lizzie. Would you... I mean, I don't know if they're going to go for the Pertemps on the back of this now. Doesn't really seem like a JP thing to do, but could he go for a Stayers Hurdle?
I don't see why not. I thought it was quite a funny race to watch because Nico was just attempting to sort of just hide him anywhere, try to make sure he didn't get any room, any daylight. And whenever he did get daylight, he was trying to take off with him. And he managed to leave it. Well, the fact that all the hurdles were out up that home straight and they sort of fanned out a bit, didn't they? And all of a sudden there was just this enormous gap in front of him and he took off, didn't he? I thought it was, a fantastic performance, and it shows that he's clearly well able to perform at a higher level than that. The Stayers Hurdle, I think it's not that it's an easy sphere, because actually it has in the past just become a little bit more competitive. Tiahupu is obviously a very difficult horse to get by. Is it Ballyburn? They're sort of saying that he might stick to the hurdling, having gone chasing last year. Is that right?
Yeah,
there are so many of these horses. Yeah. It's becoming a more difficult sphere to be able to win the races in. Obviously, both those horses are trained over in Ireland, so you could probably pick up a few of the trials over here quite nicely as well, which always adds to the tally, doesn't it? Picking up races like the Long Walk and the one at Newbury and stuff. So I think there's every chance. And, I suppose you would have thought that he would have gone chasing, but clearly their intention is to stay over hurdles. So to me, he looks like he's too good for a Pertemps, and they may as well have a crack at something higher grade.
Yeah, I completely agree. And look, he's got a fantastic record when he races fresh, which is one of the reasons I liked him. I thought there was going to be improvement to come from him going up in trip. And he was second in a Coral Cup last season to Jimmy DeSoy, which was a bloody good run as well. Right, yeah. The ability is there, Daryl. It's just, does he even need to improve that much in the 3 mile staying division?
Yeah, he does need to improve a little bit. I mean, wasn't it Bob Ollinger won it last year? Gave a brilliant ride by Rachel, wasn't it? Wasn't it Bob Ollinger?
Yeah,
I mean, that was just Rachel Blackmore at her very, very best. The Stayers Hurdle division, I mean, you got Tiahupu, who's obviously a very, very good Bob Ollinger, the Rob Core horses there. You've got the horse of Ollie Murphy's strong leader that won up at Weatherby the other day. He'll end up missing the race. He'll end up going back to Aintree and try and win his Grade 1 at Aintree. The Stayers Hurdle division is generally it's the weakest of all the big ones there. And I generally think this horse, Imposed, well, I think he's right up there, because to win that race at Pertemps, I know that the hurdles were taken out. That was his first step up the 3 miles. Yes, they could have gone chasing with him, but actually, if you look at the way he races and the way he jumps, he's a very neat and very nimble type of horse. And even when he finished second at the Punchestown Festival to a decent horse of Willie Mullins is called Hey Sunshine, I think it was, that form is very, very good. I think this horse is much, much more comfortable. He's a horse that likes to be held on to. He likes to, as if he's been a little bit more dominant. I think if he goes into Pertemps, I think he'll have too much weight. There'll be too many other horses there that are just going to go under the radar, that have been sneaking away nice and quietly all year. There's always 1 or 2 horses in that Pertemps that are well handicapped for that race. And whereas if you step into the Grade 1 company, you know all the horses that you're running against. They're all of a similar level of ability, and actually, he's the one that could come out as the underdog, or the new horse on the block, the new kid on the block. And yeah, he's been to Cheltenham, he's been up that hill. I would be going down that route personally with him. Yeah,
I agree.
And I think he'll pick up plenty of races between now and then. He could end up going to the long walk, I suppose. If he did go to the long walk hurdle at Ascot, we're going to know an awful lot more about him then if he goes there next.
He's been to Cheltenham twice. He won a novice handicap of a mark of 121. Obviously not good enough, but he's done nothing but improve since. This was a handicap of a mark of 138. He was second at the festival to Jimmy DeSoy last year. He was clear second to that runaway winner. But that horse was second to Ballyburn, and Ballyburn looked an absolute monster in his novice hurdle season. I understand it didn't quite go right for Ballyburn last season. I just don't think he's a chaser, quite frankly. And he would obviously be fascinating if he goes for a stairs hurdle.
He is going to have to improve. Enough, that was his first run. That was his first run over 3 miles. He's going to have to improve off his mark quite significantly. He will, but I'll say this: they backed him into 5-2, and Nico de Boinville rode him like there's no way this fella's getting beaten. He was very, very well handicapped there for the other day.
Oh, it wasn't just how well handicapped he was, though. It was the confidence with which Nico rode him, which suggests to me that he thinks there's a lot more to come. Yeah, but and also the start of the season, a lot of Nicky's horses haven't been up on grass either. I was in Nicky's last week, and they haven't been up their grass yet. So there's bundles and bundles of improvement whenever they start going on the grass as well. So that horse would have definitely have come on from the run. So they backed him into 5-2, despite the fact that he'll improve for the run. And I think that the turn of foot that he has against these stairs, now it's going to be more difficult in Grade 1 company, but that turn of foot he has, that's going to be a really potent weapon for him. Let's switch to Ireland. Champ Kiely and Only by Night ended up fighting out the finish of the Barbettstown Castle Chase. I told you about Il Atlantique. I told you about him years ago, but we won't dwell on it. That's a horse you can only bet on when he's a big price, and that's it. And even then, I'm not so sure. Daryl broke that horse's heart in a graded race back in the day. He finished him. He finished him that day. He broke him. But Only by Night, a new acquisition for Rob Corr. She was a very good mare last season, and she's going to be an exciting enough one for them this season. I'm sure that Champ Kiely is going to have some races in him as well. What did you make of the race overall, Daryl? I thought it was a brilliant race. I thought Champ Kiely ran some race, considering he had to give her £11 that day. Yeah. And again, like I say, Willie Mullins' string haven't really got going as well, so they're going to improve an awful lot. But her well-being, I mean, she's a lighter frame type of a mare, but she won that. She got rated 148. She was just touched off to Django Boy, wasn't it, in the Arca last year. She ran a huge race in that, snuggled into the race by Keith. I mean, he's just majestic on her, isn't he? The way he just rides her, just creeps. She never really noticed that she's in a race until she jumps the last or the second last. I thought it was a fascinating race to watch, and I'm excited about her. Again, see what route she goes down, because she could step up and trip from that as well. She could go down. She's a very lovable, very honest mare. And I also think there's huge potential then for Champ Kiely as well, because I think there's a lot of improvement to come from him too as well. I thought it was a really, really good race. And in the pocket was going all right until he crashed out 2 out as well. Yeah, and he'll improve in the pocket, hopefully. They've obviously had a lot of issues with that horse. I'd be very positive about Champ Kiely, and I suspect that Willie will get a big race out of him. I'm not sure which one, but we'll keep an eye on him for the rest of the season. But the fact that Only by Night was able to, first of all, mix it really, really strongly with the boys last season, and now come out and beat them at the start of the season, admittedly getting the weight. Might not all be about the mare's chase for her, but it's understandable that she's been cut so significantly for that race at Cheltenham, Lizzie.
Yeah, absolutely. The way she travelled in that race as well was she stamped her authority on that race, I think. And I thought Champ Kiely gave it beans basically after the last to make it as close as it was. But she looked the best, the best horse in the race for quite a lot of the race, I thought. She jumps very well. And Gavin Cromwell obviously has like a little bit of a knack with his mares. He always does really well with them, because the other one he had in that race ran a decent enough race as well. And the Arkle last year, I forget its name now. I think he had 2 in it, and I preferred the other one. I think it had run at Huntingdon. But anyway, he's well able with these mares, and obviously, she could be pigeonholed into the mare's chase at Cheltenham, but let's see how her season progresses, because yes, she was getting plenty of weight really, but be interesting to see kind of what her ceiling is really.
It's going to be interesting to see how that Arkle form works out, because with the benefit of hindsight, like obviously it was desperately disappointing that Majborough gets beaten. He's backed as though defeat's out of the question. Loads of people thought he was an absolute ATM machine, go up and collect. Rarely works out that way in those races. Very easy to say that with the benefit of hindsight, by the way. But Django by, I mean, we'll see what Nicky does with him, but obviously he's an exciting horse. Only by Night's now come out and won. Majborough bolted up at punches down, despite the fact he still couldn't jump well, and he still went on and slammed those horses. And horses from in behind that day have come out and won subsequently as well. And the Skeltons still hold Lotus Sud in very high regard. And we're going to see him this weekend, aren't we? We're going to see him taking on Jonbon in the Couleurs. So
yeah,
that Arkle form actually might work out really well. It's just
that Arkle form was strong form, because if you remember, they went a decent gallop from start to finish in that race. It was blistering. There was no messing around. And when races around Cheltenham, Lizzie will tell you as well, when they're run at that sort of a gallop where the pressure's on, the pace is on, there's no real hiding place. And like you say, for 3 of them, 4 of them to come up, jump the last pretty much together and have that ding-dong battle the whole way up the line, that form has to stand out. It has to be strong. And it will be strong. As this year plays out, that form will just keep coming back. And you'll see, horses that have been there, the listed races, all them sort of, it will come back, and it'll be very, very solid. And there'll be so much clues throughout the year coming back to the Arkle form last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll talk about novice chasers on the podcast in the coming weeks, and obviously we'll do a few specials for you as well. We've already done that with Paul Ferguson. If you haven't heard those episodes or watched them, you can see them now on the Final Furlong podcast apps and YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and whatever. There's some great stuff there. But Lizzie and Daryl will give you their novice chasers to follow for the season as well in coming ones. We're going to ask you about a potentially very exciting horse for Philip Hobbs. He says potentially the best horse he's had for quite some time. And we're also going to talk about Lizzie's favourite subject, the 2 mile hurdlers. So all that to come in a couple of minutes. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. In Ireland, you can bet on over 7,000 events every single day on the 1xBet website. You get fast withdrawals. There's loads of new customer specials for you to check out as well. You can check out more. The link is in the description, 1xBet.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. Check out 1xBet if you're betting in Ireland. Sober Glory is a horse that Tom Malone talked up very, very strongly on the Final Furlong podcast, and he's come out and won very impressively. He was unbeaten in 3 bumpers, including a listed company last season. He did it really well, I thought, Lizzie, and the talk now is that he could be going for either the Formby, the Grade 1 on Boxing Day / St. Stephen's Day at Aintree, or they go for the Cello with them. So they're already aiming for a Grade 1, and I can see why.
Yeah, for God's sake, if you like it, don't go to the Cello. I just do everyone a favour.
Hey, I've won the Cello a few times. Leave the Cello
But
out.
Lizzie, the new line did it.
Rev de Savola did it, Lizzie. Rev de Savola.
I know. But it's just, for God's sake, please. I just can't cope with talking about the Cello form in March. I just can't do it.
You love it, Lizzie. You love it.
Yeah, look, they've got some really nice young horses there at Hobbsy's, and it's great to see him firing again. He went through a bit of a quiet time, and I think you could say after Defi Desoy, didn't have a huge amount to hang his hat on, but he's training now with his long-term assistant, Johnston White, and yeah, it's lovely. They also had that Cheltenham winner at the October meeting, French Ship.
Yep.
And there are a couple of others as well who've run some really nice races. So yeah, look, Sober Glory, he looks pretty good, and he looks like he's got a decent amount of class. I like the way that he travels in his races, and there's plenty to like about him.
Shout out Tom Malone, who it turns out isn't just a brilliant bloodstock agent and somebody who's able to point you in the direction of future Grade 1 winners. Also turns out he's a bit of a twinkle toes and is able to bust a move in the dance floor. So well done to him, winning the Strictly Come Dancing thing. What was it called, Daryl, again?
Racing Come Dancing.
Shout out Tom Malone. Well done in the winner's enclosure.
I was there. Actually, Michael Shinners and Niall Hannity had an absolute stormer, the Northern one, the weekend. Yeah, I think they were second or third, so they were, yeah.
Second and third individually or second and third together?
Yeah, they finished second or third in the competition. They had an absolute streak.
That's not what, are you telling me they were dancing together?
Yeah.
Well
Michael
done.
Shinners and Skybet Shinners and Niall Hannity upsides.
Well done, boys. You're braver than me. There was a sing-song at the Curragh finale, which we were all very kindly invited to, and there was a suggestion from people, you want to go up and dance? No. I wouldn't even do that. Never mind. Competition for charity. So best of luck to the lads. Well done to them. When is the final of that?
That's it. They've had the two. They had the Northern one and they had the Southern one. That's it. Done and dusted.
Oh, we need to get our donation into Tom Malone. So can you remind me of that, please? Thank you very much. Okay. What did you make of Sober Glory, and what do you think of him going forward?
I think he's a really, really smart horse, isn't he? He's won a point. He's won 2 bumpers. He won a listed bumper, and he obviously won very, very comfortably the other day. The thing I like about this horse is, and it comes back to form, but when he beat Baron Noir, one of Alan King's horses, he finished third in that race, and then Kingston Queen, she got beaten by Baron Noir. Baron Noir went on to win at Punchestown, beat Il Kyrios of David Maxwell's horses, Gary Moore's horses. All of that sort of form is tied in really, really strongly. And this horse could be really smart. I mean, I thought he was very, very good. When he won the listed bumper at Newbury, that was the day he shone with me. That's the day where I thought that this could potentially one of the best horses that Hobbsy's had for a long, long time. And Lizzie said it there about the team down there. They've had a few quiet seasons, but actually you look at the form this year, you look at the nice young horses that they're coming through. They've got a really, really exciting team down in Minehead this year. And I'm hoping, please God, that all horses stay healthy and sound and all that, because there's no sounder trainer in this country training racehorses at the moment than Philip Hobbs. And I hope for their sake and hope for everyone's sake that we can see them back in the Grade 1s, back in the glory days.
Yeah, well said. Racing needs people like Philip Hobbs and David Pipe in the winner's enclosure, and hopefully both of them will be, because Kingston Queen looks like another Tom Malone acquisition, by the way. It looks like a really exciting mare as well. I know she's one that David is very keen on, and she's got very strong form as well. Sholin obviously bolted up the other day, and the form of her win was backed up at the Curragh, so it's that form is, that entry bumper form has been boosted on the flat, but it's also been boosted by Kingston Queen, and she's a horse who should be able to do quite well this season, Lizzie.
Yeah, I really like her. I mean, having a look at some of the other novices that are coming through as well, I think most recently Lisbane Park was impressive at Exeter on Friday. I thought that was a really smart performance. He put away a couple of quite nice, more experienced horses than him. And the other one would be Got a Dream. He's won 2 so far this season. One of them was at Chepstow. He's trained by Nicky Martin, and he's a horse that I know relatively well, actually, because I used to ride out there. And he's a proper horse. She had a terrible time last year. All the horses were sick, and she pretty much shut up shop and didn't run anything. But Got a Dream is, in my opinion, he was a very smart workhorse, and he ran in the Aintree Bumper the year when the Aintree Bumper form was like unbelievable, and even the horse that finished last is now rated at 120. Yes, so those were the two that I sort of thought actually they were kind of standouts as well, Lisbon Park and Got a Dream.
And just very briefly, you were both on duty for Racing TV over the weekend. There's two horses I want to ask you about. Daryl, I'll come to you in a second about Blue King Daru, who's obviously got a lot of class, but I don't know if he's a chaser. More importantly, though, Lizzie, is for whatever reason, Paul Nicholls decided to tell everybody that he thinks Cave to Burley is one of the best 2 mile chasers he's ever had. Now, I don't doubt that he means that, but if you're going to say that, then you're putting a lot of pressure on that horse, kind of unnecessarily.
Lizzie, I love your facial expressions there.
Yeah.
You are the man who trained. You're the man who trained.
I can only work on the radio. It was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it?
It was shot. This is the guy who trained Cotta Star to win 2 Tingle Creeks, masterminded, bolts up in a Queen Mother Champion Chase, wins it again the following season. Like, this was a woeful start to the season for him.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. He completely. I mean, I think. This'll ask the winner. It was obviously like a bit of a surprise, and I sometimes think in racing that jockeys ride the race according to like what they think is going to happen rather than what is happening in front of their eyes. And This'll Ask shot off, had effectively, in theory, no chance. Probably could have finished third. Shot off in front and ran them ragged. And it was like a massive surprise. And it was an amazing performance, an exceptional training performance, because where the hell the improvement has come from, I just don't know. And, ran them ragged around Exeter on a day when a lot of the winners were coming from the front. So that really played into his advantage. But essentially, Harry Cobden pressed the button on Califf de Burley and nothing happened. It was like it was just broken. Like, oh, no, that's not working. I think you could probably say the same about JPL1, who was also disappointing in that race. If you compare that performance to how he won it last year, it really disappointing. Two horses that just nothing really was there. I mean, Saint Segal, to his credit, kept trying to reel in This'll Ask and did get relatively close to being able to be competitive, to put This'll Ask to the sword a little bit. But yeah, it was such a shame because the race itself promised to be, really exciting. And to think this horse, obviously he'd switched, he'd not gone to Cheltenham because the Sandown race last year bottomed him, so he went to Aintree. Yes, you can poke holes in the quality of that Grade 1 at Aintree. Yes, it probably wasn't the best Grade 1 you'll ever see, but he went out there and he jumped from fence to fence. His jumping was beautiful. He's a lovely big scopy horse, but just sort of nothing was really there under the bonnet at Exeter on Friday. And they have said that they'll step him up and trip, and he felt like a slow horse, which is, a little bit surprising. But you'd like to hope that stepping him up and trip will bring out, what we think might be there. But
hold on a second. That's not what, Nicholls that morning goes on the opening show on ITV and says, this is one of the best 2 mile chasers I've trained. You don't step that horse up.
I've got a theory in this.
Go on, tell us.
So it's like us, right? We run a marathon, right? I always equate to going back to us, right?
You might run a marathon.
Right? You run a marathon and you run the first half of the marathon a stride quicker than you can go. You're gonna towards the end of the marathon, you're gonna get tired. You're not gonna have the oxygen to get you over to get you through the trip, right? It's a bit like the horses here. Like Skelton's had a plan, race fit horse. They knew some of Nicholls' horses, and it's clear, it's there for everyone to see. Some of Nicholls' horses are needing to run quite badly. What they had done is they went out there. Look, and Harry said it himself, they didn't know whether it was going to work or not. But what they done is they went out there on the two of them, even in the Doyen's Quest, wasn't it? The race. They went out there. They went hell for leather. I mean, you look at the speedometer that they were going down the back straight, 34, 35 mile an hour, right? He was hammering tongs away because he knew his horse was fit, and it jumps and it goes and it keeps going. And what he's done is basically, Califf de Burley's was, he was obviously going to need the run, but basically he's run the first half of the race in a faster than he could actually go. His rev counts were up in nearly the 90s, whereas before he goes around in 65, 70% in the revs. And basically what he's done is he's just blown himself up because he went too fast too soon and he just didn't have anything to finish with. And I see
but he was so far behind him, Daryl.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The horse was out of his comfort zone. You look at Harry Cobden's body language. The minute he went by the winning post, right, going down them back straight, you got the water, you got the plane, and you got the ditch. You look at Harry Cobden's body language on that horse, and he was squeezing with his lower leg, trying to get the horse into the bridle, and the horse could not come into the bridle because of what the fractions that Skelton set up. And I can guarantee you, if you hadn't got this ask in the race, Harry Cobden would have went around in 2 gears slower, all in his comfort zone. He would have let him get a breather, and I can guarantee you, Khalif de Burles would have come into that home straight, and he would have romped home. I guarantee it's the fractions early doors for the first half of the race has put Khalif de Burles on the back foot, and therefore he's had a blow, and he's had absolutely nothing left to finish with. I think it was incredible riding and incredible training performances by the Skeltons is what got that horse beaten.
So basically what you're saying is that if he'd never come across the Thistle Ask, he'd have tramped up, looked really exciting. We'd have all thought, oh, this is the next mastermind or whatever, and then we'd have gone to Cheltenham, and then we'd have found out. Yeah. So at least we know now.
It's you know yourself, Lizzie. You know yourself when you ride the race.
Thank you, Harry Skelton. You've saved us a lot of heartache.
Thank you, Skelton.
Would you not, if I'm just putting it out there, if you think the race was run completely different to what the Skelton's done, do you think Khalif de Burles is falling out the back of the picture?
I think you make an exceptional point. I mean, Saint Segal, I spoke to Kieran afterwards, Kieran Gethings. Obviously, they were absolutely delighted with the run. But he said that he was flat out from the word go.
Saint Segal is a strong traveller. He's a strong traveller, Lizzie. He can go a gallop, mind. And he said, Kieran Getton said to you that he could barely go to gallop.
Yeah. No, they went very quick. They went very quick. And obviously Skelton's also had the benefit of, featherweight. So
the lesson from this is we saw this last year. Caldwell Potter gets beaten. All the jokes are made. Oh, have they got the receipt? I might have made some of those jokes, by the way. He goes and wins it. I never said I'm always right. He goes and wins a big handicap at the Cheltenham Festival, which did Azol a favour. That was fantastic. And then he wins a Grade 1 to make a mockery of that handicap win. Khalif de Burles himself got thrashed at Sandown, as he brings up, and then
Khalif de Burles will be back. Yeah. Mark my word, he'll be back. I rode him last year at the early start of the season down to Nichols, and I can tell you myself, he's an absolute monster. He's a very, very good horse. Khalif de Burles will be back. Whether it's over 2 miles or 2.5, me personally, I think he's a 2.5 mile horse all day long.
What the hell is Nichols doing telling everybody, oh, this is the best 2 mile chaser I've had?
Sure, look, that's Paul for you, isn't it?
Sure, look, we all have to big ourselves up. Everybody's got to inflate that LinkedIn profile.
Listen, all I can tell you to all your listeners, do not lose faith on Khalif de Burles. He will be back.
Okay. When he does go and win, you know that all the after-timers are going to be on social media going, oh, you keep the faith, see? Or if it's the day you take the horse on, is the day he'll slap you right in the face. Okay, very quickly, let's just take a quick look at the 2 mile division. Not for the champion hurdle. Some shows might want to do that, and we will definitely be talking about Cheltenham. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry. We'll be talking about Cheltenham right here on this podcast very, very soon. But the betting with 1xBet for the Fighting Fifth is through, and they go 5-2, Constitution Hill. Anzadam is a 3-1 shot. Oh, I was hoping we were going to get a much bigger price about him. Cargizi is 10-1. Burdett Road 16s. Golden Ace 20-1 to bounce back. Hello Neighbour 20s. Geez, he'd need to start now. Lump Sum is a 25-1 shot. So, Lizzie Kelly, your favourite topic, Constitution Hill. Is he going to be able to bounce back this season?
I don't know. I think this is a really difficult topic now. You know how I feel. I feel like I've been led on a merry path, and I haven't got what I was promised. in terms of Constitution Hill becoming a
be
great.
annoying Lizzie Kelly like that. I tell you one thing.
I love Nicky Henderson, but I have got a bone to pick with him about this horse, and that is, that one way or another, we're never going to see the horse that they said they were going to run in a Cheltenham Gold Cup. They said they were going to run in an Ascot Gold Cup on the flat. That's never going to happen. So that bubble has burst. What we know now is, that physically Constitution Hill has had a lot of problems. And, for him really to get back and get the jumping sorted out and get back on the sort of path that he was before, like that's really their goal now. And I want to see that happen. Like I'm a horse lover. I don't want to see a horse fail. I want him to return to his best. And I think he's obviously he's got another year under his belt now, but unless a new horse comes out of the woodwork, he's still got every right to retain his crown. For me, you've mentioned Kargizi, you've mentioned Anzadam. Obviously, the New Lion is certainly a really exciting new horse, young horse on the block. Hello Neighbour, I think you're a bit rude about Hello Neighbour. I really liked him last year. He was, a little bit disappointed, but I don't think he got the rub of the green at Cheltenham.
Oh, Jamie Wren is listening to this now going, would you stop, Lizzie? That joke's got no chance. Yeah,
maybe. But he was a flat horse, and you'd like to hope that he'd get bigger and stronger every time, every season. Sorry. Anyway, apart from him, the New Lion obviously is really exciting. But in the context of Newcastle, yes, I can very much see it being another small runner, sort of relatively weak in depth competition, and. It would be great if the man brought Sprinter Sacra back. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that Constitution Hill will come back and run an absolute blinder.
What do you make of this story about the fact that they fixed his eyesight? That's all he needed was a trip to Specsavers.
Probably not. Probably not for public consumption. What I thought about that.
Definitely, Lizzie. It's a podcast. You can say whatever you want.
No, I don't know. I have no idea what to make of that. Of all the random ailments that a horse can have, this chap, he's had them all.
Yeah, that kind of is the problem, Daryl. And Lizzie went on an epic rant on this podcast last year. It was brilliant. Oh, it was sublime. Absolutely sublime.
It was Shakespeare, Daryl. Shakespeare.
I think it was Shakespeare. In fact, that was some of the commentary on social media. You would think Shakespeare himself had crafted this eloquent monologue that Lizzie Kelly went on about how Hurricane Fly went to war every single season, and Willie Mullins didn't make a big thing about it. The horse went to war. He did his talking on the track.
Yes,
you're
right.
This is not my. This is Lizzie's point, and it was brilliant. Yeah. Lizzie's point with Constitution Hill is brilliant racehorse, fantastic. He's probably the most impressive winner of the Supreme we've ever seen. Arguably the most impressive winner of a champion hurdler we've ever seen. Why do you not run him more? What is going on? Why is it we're getting all these updates? Oh look, it's another A4 sheet. Apparently he's had his breakfast. Great, fantastic. Oh look, he decided to have a gallop this morning and it went very well. You can say this is great, they're so good at keeping us in touch, but actually, people do get very disenfranchised and disillusioned with this. Run the horse. Just run him. And they weren't doing that. So there are a lot of excuses for his disappointments, Daryl. Is he still the same horse? And he's bidding to do what Hurricane Fly did, which is regain a champion hurdle crown after losing it. And he did that at the age of 9, which will be the age Constitution Hill will be when Cheltenham comes around. So is he going to bounce back?
Well, just to say what Lizzie was saying, I'm just reading here now. Another Newbury gallop beckons for Constitution Hill.
Oh my God!
There you go, Lizzie.
Just run him.
Exactly.
Look, he's been a wonderful horse. But look, we were all saying about Best Mate as well with Henrietta Knight. She kind of wrapped him up, but there is only. Me personally, again, I would love to see him out an awful lot more. But then again, the program for these horses as well. There's not yes, there's races, but there's not loads and loads. There's not races every week for these horses. Barry is, like you say, the Irish program is an awful lot better because all the Irish, the best 2 milers, the best 3 milers, like you've got, they all have to take each other on. And if you want to go to Cheltenham, like you say, your Hurricane Fly, your Brave Inca, they all, because there was so few of them races, they were split out every 6 weeks or every 8 weeks, whatever it was. They all had to run against each other. But in England, for example, we had the elite hurdle last weekend. In 3 weeks' time, we have the Fighting Fifth, and then another 3 weeks after that, I think we got the champion hurdle trial up at Haydock and stuff like that. And then you got the Kingwell. All of our best 2 milers, they can always avoid each other.
Yeah.
Where in Ireland, they can't. They have to run again. It's a game against the staying division horses. They have to run against each other. Whereas in England, that's the problem. Like Constitution Hill, we talked about Jonbon. We can dodge the bullets. We can dodge each other horses. And that's when we get to some of our races and they get uncompetitive. Whereas me personally, I'd like to see, in a racing fan, I would like to see a bit more like the Irish program where, right, this is the route that all the champion hurdle horses have to go down and they have to take each other on. And that's it. And then you will see more of me and you'll see better racing. But at the moment, we can avoid them over here. We can avoid each other.
Yeah, well, there is too much racing. And look, they literally changed the race calendar. They moved the Beulah really to suit Constitution Hill. Now, he did run on it this year and bolted up, to be fair. He makes a bad mistake at the last, but he still wins it. But he didn't run it the year before. Say again?
Was it Brentford Hope they beat that day?
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, Harry Durham's horse. Yeah.
Harry Durham's horse.
Slammed him. So, look, I think the engine is still there. He's a bit of a head case, but he was backed just though defeat was out of the question in that champion hurdle, which just ended up being a complete.
If you look at the champion hurdle picture, right, you've got Constitution Hill 170, Statement 167, right? The two of them are 8-year-old. Are they 8-year-old now or 9?
Statement's 8 going 9. Constitution is the same.
So basically, there'll be 9. 2 of them will be 9-year-olds going, right? You've got the New Lions 159, Lossum at 157, Anzaram 157, William Money, who I think has got a great chance. He was second behind Copac de Boers. He's going chasing next weekend. He comes into the champion hurdle picture. But they still have to improve. I don't think Constitution Hill is as good. I think he's slightly on the decline. Statement looked unbelievable with the cheap pieces on him at Cheltenham before he tipped up.
Oh.
Like, for me personally, Statement I think is 7-1 chance. I think he's an unbelievable price for the champion hurdle.
Mm.
Yeah, 6-1 is the price with one expect.
I think the New Lion and William Money and Anzadam. But then if you go and think about it, right, if Constitution Hill beats Andazam in Newcastle, he absolutely trounces him in Newcastle, right, wins 5 lengths on the bridle. What price? Well, Constitution at the moment is 8-1 for the champion hurdle. What price is he going to be for the champion hurdle after the Fighting Fifth if he beats Anzadam 6 lengths on the bridle?
Well, the thing is, I don't know why the One Expect team think that the New Line is not going to go for the Fighting Fifth, but they don't have him priced up yet, and that's their decision. As far as I know, he does run. Now, that's going
to make the Fighting Fifth the most interesting race in the last 8 or 9 years up there.
And it makes sense. It makes sense from a race planning standpoint, because why would Willie Mullins run Anzadam against Stateman when the Donnellys have both? Doesn't make sense. And he's pretty much already committed him for the race. So you send Anzadam there and you find out very early on whether or not he didn't want to go to the champion hurdle last year. He wanted to go for the Aintree hurdle, and he specifically said that. But Rishi Prasad and I had backed that horse at 66-1 and 50-1. He got 66s, I got 50s after he won the Fishery Lane. Gutted he missed out. He's clearly very talented, but he's also like glass. So he's missed Cheltenham for the last 2 seasons. He missed the Triumph Hurdle. He missed the Champion Hurdle / Aintree Hurdle last season. If they can keep him sound, there's definitely an engine there, and we've been talking about this horse for over a year. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. Can the New Line drop back to 2 miles, Lizzie? Because this is what...
Yeah, I think so.
So like, why would the Skeletons go Champion Hurdle with a horse that they obviously see as their best, unless they thought he could do what Faugheen could do, which is drop back from staying trips and then go and win a champion? It's very unusual that a shallow hurdle horse would win this.
There's plenty of horses that have done that. I've won the Turners or the...
Hardy Eustace.
There's loads of horses that have done it. It's quite regularly that horses come back from that race. They do come back to champion hurdle.
Yeah, in the
remember,
modern era though,
thing
it's been
about-
in the modern era. It's been the Mayor's Hurdle, the County Hurdle with State Man. It's been Sublimity from the Supreme, Constitution Hill from the Supreme. For whatever reason, it's changed. I don't know why.
You have to stay. You have to stay in the Champion Hurdle too. It's not all about pace; it's about stamina too.
So, do you think he has the
Yeah.
sufficient blend of speed, stamina, and class that he is a very exciting champion hurdler? You do. The three of you agree.
Yeah.
Two of you agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if he wins the Fighting Fifth, like if he catches Constitution Hill cold and beats him, then the entire betting is thrown into disarray.
Well, he's at the moment he's favourite for the Champion Hurdle, isn't he? No.
Yeah, but if he wins, then he's not only is he the leading British challenger, he's just beaten Constitution Hill, and it kind of further puts his setback. Like the natural progression for the two of them, if he wins the Fighting Fifth, clearly he'll run in the Christmas Hurdle. That's where things become very interesting because Constitution Hill is the only horse in history to win that 3 times. So if he gets beaten in the Fighting Fifth, does he suddenly have a Lazarus-like performance in Kempton?
But then again, you got to put the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton is a very, very different test to say Newcastle or to say Cheltenham, because the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton is very, very sharp.
But that's what Faheen did.
Yes, I agree. But
So
I'm saying it's a totally, totally different kettle of fish. The Christmas Hurdle at Kempton compared to a Cheltenham or compared to a Fighting Fifth at Newcastle. Whereas Newcastle, it's a good stiff track where we obviously would play into the New Lions' hands by having a test of stamina. Whereas the Christmas Hurdle at Kempton, and we've seen it before, it's about speed. Whereas then the Champion Hurdle, and a few months later, is a little about speed, but a lot about stamina as well. So if he won at Newcastle, got beaten in the Christmas Hurdle, I still wouldn't be that worried going back to Cheltenham because he got beaten at Kempton.
Okay, that's interesting.
Lizzie?
So hypothetically, Nicky Henderson's in tears. Constitution Hill is a Lazarus-like performance. He wins his 4th Christmas Hurdle at Kempton. Lizzie's giving it socks on the TalkSport commentary. We're all losing our minds. Happy days. Daryl's there for Racing TV. Everyone's cheered him on. But maybe the point would be, don't give up on the New Line though. He's still going to be ideally suited to Cheltenham, so don't worry too much about that. But we're going to learn a lot in the next couple of weeks. We're going to learn if the New Line can successfully drop back into 2 miles in open company and beat exciting horses like Amsterdam and a former champion in Constitution Hill. You also mentioned William Money. Why are you so keen on him?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him because I think he's taken a little bit of time to get his jumping together. I thought he was very slow and very deliberate at the start of the year. I thought his best performance was at Cheltenham the last time. I think he's a bigger horse. He's a stronger horse. And I don't know. I like his profile. I think there's an awful lot mentally. There's an awful lot to come from this horse. And like I say, the fact that Barry O'Connell's keeping him to this division and not going chasing with him, to me, it sounds like, and what I'm hearing, he's got a little bit more speed this year than what he had last year as well. So yeah, I think I'm not 100%. I'm not saying that he's going to win the Champion Hurdle, but I think he's an interesting contender in the Champion Hurdle this year or in that division. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think he's just because he's so unexposed, and he's clearly been held in very high regard. So I think it would be dangerous to underestimate him. I said I wouldn't look at the Champion Hurdle betting, and then I did.
Look at Lizzie's eyes rolling. Lizzie.
So here's why I'm going to look at the Champion Hurdle betting. The 1xBet team goes 7-2 the New Line, 5-1 Lossiemouth. Are we going to have this conversation again? She's obviously going for the Mayor's Hurdle. I'm sorry you want her to run the Champion Hurdle, but don't worry, you can watch her gallop to success on the Thursday at Cheltenham this year instead of the Tuesday, so it might be easier for you. State Man at 6-1 seems kind of mad. Constitution Hill 13-2. We're all skeptical, but we all think that Nicky can do it. I just think 12-1 about Amsterdam is too big. I'm just slightly concerned about him getting there. But if he gets there, that's a horse of a lot of talent and ability. Who is the 2 mile hurdler
He'll be that price. If he's a fragile horse, will he not be roughly? He'll be thereabouts that price anyway when it comes to Champion Hurdle.
Unless he bolts up in the Fighting Fifth. But look at what happened with Mystical Power last year. So who is the 2 mile hurdler you are most excited about as you lean back in your chair and stare at the ceiling, Lizzie Kelly?
Absolutely, the New Lion. Like, that is absolutely the most exciting young horse on the block. I love him.
And he slammed an incredibly well-backed Yellow Clay and a horse in Final Demand who was considered an absolute good thing by the Mullins clan. He beat them
Yeah,
both.
I mean, Final Demand is absolutely gorgeous. Really looking forward to seeing what he does this season. But the New Lion, he's very relaxed at home, very chilled out. He's sort of like a bit like a pony. They said that he came back from his summer holidays looking a little bit round, and that he
like
absolutely loves his
Haven't we all?
We all know the feeling that the New Lion has been going through over the last 3 or 4 months since he returned. With Dan Skelton obviously trying to make sure he's not quite so round. But yeah, he's lovely. He's a really nice laid back horse. But there's a lot of chat that goes on about horses sometimes. But, he went out and actually succeeded at Cheltenham. And it was fantastic. And actually, he was the only winner that Skelton's had that week. He was an important horse. And for those guys, they have to get results now. It's not like, oh, it was great, we had a winner. Like, they have to get results. And this horse went out and did it. And that's what you need.
And Frank Berry, Paul Byrne, JP McManus all had a big conversation with one another and decided to spend probably $1 million, if not more, probably more. So the work was already done for us. I, like a fool, took the horse on in the Bering Bingham, but the price with 1xBet, I've just been told, is 7-4 for the Fighting Fifth. So that's about the New Lion. He's the 7-2 favourite with 1xBet for the Champion Hurdle as well. Daryl, of the 2 mile hurdlers, who are you most excited about?
Staying faithful, tried and tested. He's worn the T-shirt, and he's won already. I'm going to stay with Stateman. Sorry,
I thought you were going to say Constitutional there for a second.
I was like the choice.
I was looking down at Constitution. No, I was looking rephrase. Yes, he's been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. Stateman.
I think you're incredibly naive if you think Constitution Hill can't come back this season.
No, he 100%.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying anybody.
I'm trying to think of I kind of. It's between them, but to me, Statements. He's just been around. He's done everything. He would have won last year, cheek pieces, and I had written Statement off. I'm not going to lie to you. I was in Ireland when he got beaten, and he looked very unimpressive at the start of the season. Literally, he was gone, and I thought he can't be winning the Champion Hurdle. And then, but it's a funny thing. When I was looking at him going around, I was thinking he looks like as if he needs a set of cheek pieces or something on him. And I just kind of kept it to myself. I never said it, and I kept it to myself. And next thing, bang, wallop, a set of cheek pieces on him. And I thought to myself then, the Champion Hurdle, I was like, I don't bet, but I was nearly tempted to go and have a fiver on him myself in the Champion Hurdle, because I just thought to myself, when I was reading the races, the way he was running, I was just thinking he just needs a little bit. He just needs to give Paul a little bit more help than what he's been giving him. And when I seen them going on him, I thought, bang, he could be back in business. And then obviously he would have won Barry. He tipped up at the last. And
that whole race was completely mental from start to finish, like from flagfall, because the pace horse for Brighter Days Ahead didn't go fast enough, which was the first thing that was really strange. Then Constitution Hill fell. Then Brighter Days Ahead clearly wasn't like incapable of running a race. And it was just like, oh God, what a disaster. Then Stateman looks like he's going to absolutely bolt upward with such a good training performance, and he falls. Then Golden Ace goes and wins. It was just like the most mental 3.5 minutes of racing I think I've ever seen. I just
great
couldn't.
Viewing, though, isn't it?
You have to be in it to win it, but basically she should have been third. Like I'm not saying Constitution Hill wins, but if he stands up, he's at least fighting it out with Stateman. And if those two jump the last, then
yeah, I mean it was just so peculiar. I mean, we never really found out what happened with Brighter Days Ahead. That was like,
she's going chasing this year, actually, isn't she?
I don't think that's a Cheltenham horse. I think she was broken. I think she was broken from that performance at Christmas, and I don't think she's a Cheltenham horse. Her brother, Mighty Potter, wasn't either. There's another sibling who bombed out at Cheltenham too. I don't think they can handle Cheltenham.
Well, why didn't the pace horse go quick enough?
No idea.
It was like he forgot.
I love Lizzie in the winner's enclosure just going, why didn't you go quick enough?
Imagine her being a trainer, Emmet. Huh? Imagine her giving you instructions. Huh?
Oi, jockey, I want a word with you.
Her mother was bad enough, getting instructions off her mother. I tell you one thing, I wouldn't like to be getting riding instructions off Lizzie.
Oh, I'd be like Jenny Pittman. I'd throw handbags at people. I'd have gone mental. I couldn't figure it out. It was it was so strange. And then Brighter Days Ahead, she's now going chasing, and Constitution Hill can't stand up, and it's just all going on.
Yeah.
It's just all going on.
But
it's very exciting. I think it was one of the most exciting races I've seen in my whole life.
But the performance at Punchestown with Constitution Hill, shout out to Ross Millar, who I was supposed to meet at Punchestown and couldn't. They went a bit mad, but he saw him in the parade ring and was like, no, just forget it. Like before the race even began, he knew he was gone.
Punchestown wasn't happening for him. He didn't, and he was even jibbing down to start and everything. It was just his whole season was just a disaster, and that was the final.
Just a disaster.
Yeah.
But
a disaster.
You have to remember,
write him off at your pearl.
Yeah, he was backed into 2s on for the champion hurdle. He was sent off even money against Lossiemouth for the entry hurdle over a trip that's her best. I know he fell, but the market expectation was that he was going to run a massive race in both. So his eyesight is fixed. Let's see. Also, producer Niamh, can we do a very selective BBC Trump-style edit on Daryl Jacob there, where he very clearly and succinctly points out that it was not his intention and not his idea that cheek pieces would be applied to State Man. Remove that, make it sound like it was his idea. Remove he doesn't bet, make it sound like he lumped on and it was his whole thing. So David Casey gets the credit for Ethical Diamond. Daryl Jacob gets the credit for... Oh, did those people have to resign at the BBC? Oh, okay. Apparently that's unethical. Sorry, we can't do that. Okay. All right. We better not do that then. All right. Let's get your 1xBet performance of the week, shall we? You can sign up now to 1xBet if you're betting in Ireland, 1xBet.ie. There's more than 7,000 betting markets for you to get involved in every single day. You get fast withdrawals, and there's loads of new customer specials for you to get stuck into as well. You can sign up with the link in the description, whether you're listening on any podcast apps or watching on YouTube. Terms and conditions apply. Obviously, 18 plus. Gamble responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. What was your 1xBet performance, not just of the weekend, but of the last week? Who really stood out to you? I'm going to say Haiti Couleurs.
I'm going to give you a horse to follow, and a horse that I thought looked unbelievable. Port Authority, he won the maiden hurdle at Naas yesterday, right? The horse that he beat is called Murat, right? That won a bumper at Galway and was absolutely free and bolted in at Galway. Yesterday, he was still a little bit keen. This horse was making his debut yesterday by Doyen. Gordon Elliott trains him. And I think could be a really, really smart horse. I love the way he went around that race in that maiden hurdle yesterday. Looked like as if he was in second gear. Let Murat off, took him back whenever he wanted it, and went away in really, really impressive style. He was my young horse to take out of it. And another performance that I loved was at Spindleberry. She won the Mayor's Chase at Clonmel on Thursday. The owner says he's dreaming of Gold Cup. We'll see, but that was a very, very taken performance as well. She's won a grade 1 at Fairyhouse over fences. She's 4 from 4 over fences. She could hit the heights this year as well.
She's a good mare of Spindleberry. Lizzie Kelly, for you?
I was actually going to say Harry
Chester's winner at Exeter, your mum's bumper winner.
Yeah, mum's bumper winner was impressive. But I was actually going to say Harry Skelton at Exeter on Friday. I thought he was right. Like, Harry Skelton gets some stick. And I thought he gave those horses exceptional rides. 2 front-running performances, 1 hold-up performance. Doyen Quest, I thought, won that Silver Bowl novice chase really nicely. It's a race that, has had some really smart horses win it. And I think that Doyen Quest he'll never look classy, because I think his personality is very laid back, and Harry has to ask him into every single fence and almost has to do the job for him. But I thought he put in a really super round of jumping around Exeter, and showed that he had, a decent bit of toe, and a really quite a high cruising speed. So I thought Doyen Quest was really taking.
They were your performances of the week. They're all the big talking points from the week that was as well. It's the Cheltenham Open meeting this weekend. We're also building up to the Moygiana at Punchestown, which hopefully we'll be doing a special on the Final Furlong podcast due to ties with 1xBet and Punchestown. More on that to come. But for now, from Daryl, Jacob and Lizzie Kelly, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We didn't really harass you about this. Did you smash a like on this episode? Have you smashed a like on this episode yet? Of course you have. There's no way you've watched this and didn't smash the like button. That would be incredibly rude. Over 70% of people watch this and don't hit the like button. Over 70% of people watch this and don't hit the subscribe button. I don't know why you're being so rude. I'd do it for you, so you'll surely do it for Lizzie and do it for Daryl. Obviously, you're going to now. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Final Furlong Podcast. Weekend preview with the team back on Thursday, and more specials coming your way too, including one of the most hotly anticipated specials for quite a while. Adam Mills' French Horses to Follow drops this week on the Final Furlong Podcast. The Triumph Hurdle winner will be in there. All will be revealed. From Daryl, from Lizzie, and from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong Podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong Podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.